sales will be depressed slightly because Prime Day is starting. Given the scale that they're going to be reaching over this period of time, over that week, I think they're going to want to use that Friday for
recovery.
Yeah.
It's kind of like BS, right? I mean, does it really even matter?
Everyone want to watch to see Ali in red speed. That is going to happen.
See what I did there? Hey squad, quick side note. We know that more than 80% of you are not subscribed. The more people who subscribe, the more content we can create for you. And the happier we'll be here. All right, Zamir, you have a prediction for when Prime Day is going to be this year. Firstly, I want to say, great, well done.
Thank you.
You've done some research on this.
We've done a lot of research on it.
We got some numbers. This is numbers backed.
This is all numbers back. Yeah, historical data, yeah.
But I'm just going to say one thing before you say when you think it's going to be.
Okay.
Which is, does that even matter? Like, who gives a like, seriously, because Amazon's going to announce it in like probably a week or so. They're going to start, or a couple weeks from now.
Actually, no. They're not.
It'll be in July. But tell me, they're not going to do it now. But it's kind of like BS, right? I mean, does it really even matter?
Yeah, it matters a lot, actually. It has a lot of impact. And there are a number of reasons for this, right? July is a really important month in the summer period, right? It sits sort of like 7-8% above the rest of the months in terms of units sold and about 4 to 5% above in terms of revenue. So it's a really important month.
Okay.
And a huge amount of that revenue is focused around that Prime Day.
All right. So, but that just means Prime Day is important. Why does it matter that you know exactly when it is? Because that's what I'm calling BS. I'm like, that's cool. Great. Well done. I love that you got that there. Let's put a wager on it. We'll come back to that. But why does it matter to know exactly when it's going to be or to have a prediction on it?
So like you said, they're going to announce it, but they're going to announce it very late because Amazon does this every single year. They announce it late. And I know it frustrates people, but there's a very good reason for them announcing it late.
Yeah.
And that's because it impacts consumer behavior. The minute they announce it, sales drop between the announcement and when it starts, right? And we know that that's roughly around about 8 to 10 days before Prime Day starts. Mm-hmm. And this is really crucial if you're trying to get your organic ranking as high as possible for Prime Day. Because if you haven't got yourself ranking highly before they announce, literally just before they announce, then you're not going to be able to get it ranking in those following 10 days.
Okay, fine.
You're going to have a low rank in one of the key selling points of the quarter.
So peak just before the climax. Fine. So if that's the case, when are you picking when it's going to be?
So historically, right, and we're taking out 2020 and 21 because they were
anomaly years. Okay, anomaly years. COVID.
Hashtag. So 22 and 23, they happened in the second week of July.
Right.
And last year, 24, it happened in the third week. It's always mid-month.
Yeah.
And it's always started on a Tuesday. And historically, it's always been 2 days long.
Right. Okay. But
there's a change this year.
Yes.
It's going to be 4 days long.
Okay. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Maybe, maybe not. I'll dispute you on that one as well.
Okay.
But before that, does it happen so we've got choice of July Tuesdays. Just take it as Tuesday. Is the 1st, the 8th, and then the 15th.
Okay.
So 1st is way too early.
Yeah.
So is the 8th.
Okay, why?
All right. So Amazon's a global company and their biggest market is the US. And the US celebrates 4th of July.
Right.
And the 4th of July is essentially too close to the 8th. So historically, again, whenever it's been in the second week, it's always the earliest it's been is the 11th.
Because 4th of July is like
major holiday.
It's that weekend, right? So they're trying to space it from that weekend.
Yeah. And historically, again, whenever it's been earlier in the month, when it's been the 11th and 12th, then the actual 4th of July weekend has been the weekend before running up to the 4th of July, not the one after. This time, the 4th of July is a Friday. So 4th, 5th, and 6th are going to be impacted by that.
So it's when people are going to be celebrating 4th of July that they're going to base it on.
And they're not going to want their 4th of July sales to be interfered with that. So they're not going to...
Well, they want people to spend up for 4th of July and then...
Which is why we believe they're going to announce after that weekend, which means it has to be week commencing the 14th.
Yeah.
Which is Tuesday the 15th.
Okay. So it's going to be your guess based on data and your assessments is that it's going to be sometime that weekend.
Yep.
And you said you're going to challenge me on the day. So it's not, you don't think, do you think it's going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday?
I have a feeling because we're moving from 2 to 4 days, I can see a good reasoning for them pulling it forward and starting on a Monday rather than a Tuesday.
Okay. Because it's 4 days. Why is that?
Simply put, I think they'll want the Friday at the end of the week to help get those orders through and out before the weekend.
The Saturday and Sunday sales that come through,
yep.
Amazon's like a next day, same day delivery kind of company.
Yeah,
so like, does that really matter? They should be, the company is primed for that.
I think there's a fair argument.
See what I did there?
I think it's a really fair argument. However, they do still rely on third-party providers to do those deliveries, and most of them are still set up to be optimal from Monday to Friday. And given the scale that they're going to be reaching over this period of time, over that week, I think they're going to want to use that Friday for getting
to recovery.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though the Monday is going to be recovery from the weekend?
Particularly, I mean, this has always been the argument. This is why we believe they start on a Tuesday, is because as everyone that runs a fulfillment center, fulfilling on e-commerce will know, Monday morning you come in, you've got
a whole bunch of orders.
Yeah, so many orders, especially from Sunday evening, because Sunday evening in particular is generally very busy.
Yeah, we did a lot of research on that bit, by the way.
Absolutely, we do. And so that tends to be why they start on a Tuesday. However, we know that sales will be depressed slightly because Prime Day is starting. And so I think they'll lean into that and look, you're going to have a pain at one end or the other. I think actually, if you look at it from a logistical perspective, if they go with this, it may not be, but if they go with that logistical perspective, they start on a Monday.
Fine. Okay. So what's your bet? Place bets now.
All right. So look, I think it's far more important that you get the week right. So as long as you've gained the week right, it doesn't really matter if it starts on a Monday or Tuesday. However, I feel that this has maybe come to a point of personal pride between me and you. So I feel the stakes are even higher. I'm going to go with Monday.
All right. Because I want to be contentious, I'll go with the Tuesday.
Okay, cool.
So 4 days from the Monday for you, 4 days from the Tuesday for me.
And it makes absolutely no difference to anyone that's listening.
All right, fine. If you get wrong, Red Speedos on the pod.
That's not happening.
That's what's going to happen. Once Zamir is proven incorrect, he'll be here in Red Speedos, or maybe me. One of us.
On the Monday.
But let's find out. Now, if you're listening, what should you do?
Everyone want to watch to see Ali in Red Speedos, because that is going to happen.
What should you do to be ready for the Prime Day, nevertheless? Okay. Regardless of when it is.
I think this is a really important point, right? So you want to make sure that you have organic ranking as high as possible for that first week of July. That's the key bit that we're ramping up for. And ultimately, whatever your strategy is, because some people are going to lean into doing the deals during Prime Week, others are not. And again, different theories on that. Some will go for deals afterwards. And it depends on what objective you have and how heavy you are on stock, how much you want to shift units versus making margin. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, just make sure that your whole strategy leans into ranking as high as you can organically in that first week of July.
Yeah. Okay, fine. So get things going now so that you are peaking just before the climax. Whenever they announce the Prime Day, you're in a good position to just like roll through with whatever strategy, whether it's running promos, not running promos on the back end, whatever it's going to be.
And just be prepared. Look, so we know that you're going to have to adjust your advertising strategy for those 10 days. Once the announcement comes out, we know conversion rates fall. So you need to be prepared for that as well. And that's something you can respond to as long as you've expected it and anticipated it. So all of your strategy around this, it is quite a complex time and period, and you have to watch it very closely. There'll be a lot more traffic, a lot fewer conversions that week before, people doing window shopping. Got to be aware of that as well. Ultimately, make sure that you're ready for that whole season, plus the bump that we get and the effect that we see in the week
on the back end.
Yeah, on the back end of it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for your prediction. I'm sure everyone's looking forward to the Red Speedos. Yeah, we will catch you guys on the next pod.
I didn't accept that bet.
Let's see. Hey, shake my hand.
I'm not shaking your hand.
All right. Much love, guys. We'll catch you on the next pod.